You hear me now?
There you go.
There we
Yeah,
go. There we go. There we go.
got
So
it. Got
we
it.
finally got it straight. Finally got it situated.
Right.
But Mark Clayton here, former first round draft pick of the Baltimore Ravens. This hookup came from a mutual friend of ours, Lance Reed. He was my first boss when I coached in high school back in Natchez,
Nice.
and he coached Mark in high school at Sam Houston.
Sam Houston High School in
Sam High School.
Arlington, Texas. Yeah.
Arlington, Texas. So, we already had some flip flops and whatnot going on with my audio and whatnot. So I don't want to take up too much of his time. So I'm gonna dive right into these questions. And I asked him this off stream before we started. We're gonna go back to Bedlam
Yeah.
and the Red River Shootout. And he
Yep.
mentioned earlier that Bedlam was like a average away game because it was home and home series, right?
Yep.
We were talking
Yep.
about the Red River Shootout and kind
Yeah.
of what it's like. He was talking about the locker rooms being side to side. But go ahead and carry there.
Yeah, man. So the Red River Shootout is something totally different. It's a whole different animal because first of all, it's at the neutral site. Second of all, the locker rooms are literally like right across from each other, and so you're essentially going out together, like with the other team, right in front of one of you first, whoever the home team, and the others, last. But dude, it's a hell of an experience. It's the best game to me in the country
How
because of that.
dicey is that entrance? Did it ever get to the
Yeah,
point where it had to be
it's gotten
separated?
chippy. Yeah, it's gotten chippy. It's gotten chippy, and in my experience, we never lost that game. I was 4-0 playing in that game, and so even it was for we just knew we were going to win. We felt very confident about it, and then after the first couple years where we really whooped the shit out of them, it was just like, oh yeah, like y'all little brother too.
Gotcha,
Okie State
gotcha,
little
gotcha.
brother, but y'all little brother too.
So which one was more intense?
Uh, they were both really intense.
Mhm.
Oklahoma State typically that's the game of the year for them. We're usually ranked somewhere in the top 10 or somewhere up there, and they're not there. And so for them, that's a statement game, and it's an in-state game, the in-state rivalry. They lay it all on the field. They leave it on the field. So that is typically it's chippy early and tough. They got to do whatever they got to do to be in the game. A handful of. I think one of them. I lost one of them.
Gotcha.
Uh, uh, Sophomore year, I want to say.
So
No, freshman year. Freshman.
the two big rivalries for
Yeah,
OU, you were 7-1, correct?
correct.
That's a great record for anything. But I do
Yeah,
want to go back to this real quick, and I thought about this when I looked up some stats earlier today.
yeah.
You wore the greatest number in sports in my eyes. Anybody,
Okay.
because when I had a chance to pick my numbers, I wore number 9. You wore the greatest number in sports, period. Anybody in my eyes that wear number 9, baller,
Straight
certified
up.
baller, and you fit that bill to the T. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit one more question on your in college, then we're gonna switch to the Ravens.
Okay.
Your junior year,
Yeah.
you exploded that year. What was it like to produce on a level like that? Because you had like 1,400, a little over 1,400 yards, like 85 catches. What was it like to explode like that and like to be in the zone? And who was the hardest defender you faced that year?
Um, Man, that's tough. So it was. I see it from hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, dang, like I don't. I know I was in the zone. We were locked in as an offense. It was crazy. Me and Jason White had a connection that was other out of this world. I know all the work that went in that summer because I was coming off an injury my sophomore year and my second surgery that I had in college. And Jay was coming off of 2 ACL surgeries.
Mm.
So we had two tough freshman and sophomore years, and that was kind of it was awesome for us to work together and have that in common and really want to prove ourselves. And that obviously showed up that season. But man, to be in that zone, it was like surreal. For whatever reason, with all the work put in and the scheme and everything that you learn from all the coaches, it all just clicked. And dude, we were just in the zone, and couldn't nobody stop us. We would only stop ourselves. Like
Mm-hmm.
either day was off a little bit, or I ran around a little short, or long, whatever it was. And hindsight, looking back at it, was like, dang, that was pretty insane because week in, week out, numbers are going crazy.
And, so, with that being said, who was the toughest guy that you had to face, whether it be league game, bowl game, or whatever in college?
In college,
Yeah.
let me see. That year we played what's that boy name? LSU in the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my
So we're
gosh.
looking at like 03 maybe, something like that.
Yep, it was 2003, 03, 04 national championship.
Wasn't Pat Pete? No, it wasn't Pat Pete.
No.
Honey Badger might have still been there at that time.
Nope, no,
Wasn't.
he younger. Yeah. Gosh, Lee, I can't. It'll
Landry?
I'll have to hit you later. Nope.
Nope, not Landry.
I'll
Okay,
know
somebody
it.
in the chat box trying to help us out.
Yeah, help me, man. I can't remember the name, but it was tough. It was pretty tough because LSU they were man to man all year. I mean, that's what they did. But they, Saban was there, best DB coach in the land, and sure enough, going up against those guys, I could see Travis Daniels was one, and the other I can't remember the other name, but those two guys. Where you could tell they were very well coached, patient, and they were skilled, fundamentally sound. I'll say.
A lot of people don't know Saban was at LSU before he went to the Dolphins, then came back to Alabama.
He went back. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, he did that. He got a ring. Like,
if I'm not mistaken, Jimbo worked with Saban at LSU
at the LSU staff on that staff. Yeah.
Let's transition to Baltimore. So you were drafted in the first round by the Ravens, number 22 in 2005.
Yep.
Were you at the draft when you got drafted?
No, I was at home.
So when you got that phone call, can you talk us through that and tell me what it felt like?
Man, it felt surreal. Like my body, I got chills. Like it was, Ozzie Newsome called. I mean, I heard his voice, and he was just like, "Hey, Mark, you ready to be a Raven?"
At that point, what can you say?
Right. No, where do I sign? Where do I start? Like, can I get the playbook? Like, I'm ready. Yeah, it was very surreal. And once the name was called and all that stuff with Commissioner Tagliabue, I just cried like a little baby, just in the moment, just a lot of emotion because of all the work, all the almost not making it, all the moments in time where it was like, this essentially could have been over. Because my freshman year, I had a microfracture surgery. That was a new surgery at that time. I didn't have cartilage in my left knee, and so I couldn't run. Like I couldn't run hardly at all. And so they tried it, and it worked. And so I was fortunate to go on and play the rest of my college career. Then I had that second surgery in my sophomore season, just to kind of go back in that same knee and clean out, and just to think none of that would have happened had that procedure hadn't been created and available. Gotcha. In addition to, I quit my freshman year. I got there and I had never worked out in high school. Coach Reed would probably tell you I would just go to the next sport, to skip the off season. No big deal. I just want to play games.
That was me on our level. I just went from sport to sport. Didn't really lift weights until I got to college.
Yep. And then as soon as that happened, it wrecked my body. I had full body cramp. I tore a pectoral muscle, and I was like, I can't take it. And so I tried to leave. My grandma wouldn't let me leave. God bless her and rest in peace. And she was like, nah, we'll go back. Okay. And so there's so many stories, over the course of high school and then those 5 years in college that led up to that call that built all that emotion up. And it just came pouring out, man.
And nothing wrong with that. It's a culmination of, like you said, blood, sweat, and tears. Because you never know. Like I didn't know about the surgeries and whatnot, and whatever you may have went through high school. Everybody's journey is different. And when we see those tears on draft day, you never really know what they're for or where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So that was a blessing.
Yeah.
Your best season in Baltimore was your second season. 113 catches, a little under 1,000 yards. Yep. And correct me if I'm wrong, Joe's your quarterback. No, Joe's not your quarterback.
Not there, nope.
Joe's not your quarterback. Who was your quarterback?
We had for one season, and I wish he would have stayed longer. Aaron McNair.
That's what I was going to ask, because you can't see it, but this little, let me show you where I graduated from, if I can even get it up there. Hey, I went to Alcorn State. I
You went
can't
to
even put it up there.
little yellow and blue.
I went to Alcorn State,
You was at
and
Alcorn? Yeah.
yeah. So that's one of the reasons I said what I said about that number 9.
Yep. That is one.
Because of that guy.
That's one too. Yeah.
Because of that guy.
You know,
But
the one B is the guy from FSU.
Oh, Pete. Yeah,
Yep.
I did like Pete too. I did like
Yep.
Pete.
That was
And
my guy.
I'm a Miami fan, but you could not be an athlete and not like Pete.
Exactly.
Petey was that guy.
Yeah. Like, yes.
Petey was that guy.
Like a problem.
Yes. Now the game split. I was looking at the game splits too for that year where you had 113 catches. You had 4 games, maybe 5, of 10 plus catches. I can't remember in my time being a Baltimore fan where anybody had a stretch of games like that. What was it like to be in the zone, on the pro level? Because I know it's harder. I'm assuming it's harder in the pro level than it is in college.
Correct. Yeah, the level of IQ in the pro level makes it far more difficult. I tell people all the time, like, everybody's pretty much everybody's an athlete. Everybody can run. Everybody can do all that. But it's the guys who, apart from that athletic ability, can put themselves in position to make a play mentally. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, their athletic ability setting in makes them pros for long periods of time. But the IQ is what is the game changer, making that jump from college to pro. Just the defense, and for me, fortunate to be around an Ed Reed. That's who I talk to. I would just soak up him and Chris McAllister because obviously we're doing one-on-ones, but Ed Reed would do one-on-ones too. But I also was just an Ed Reed fan. Like I loved watching him play and just enjoyed his brain about the game and how he approached the game and all that. And so listening to him talk ball and what he saw and how he would read stuff and just kind of anticipate things and how all that anticipation and just feel for the game was calculated. It was the culmination of all the data input from watching quarterbacks over and over and over, film over and over and over, offensive coordinators over and over and over, like, and just knowing and having a feel for what somebody's going to do. And that plays into as a receiver. DBs not necessarily, they study you, but they also kind of get the offense that you're in and they get, some of the plays that you're going to be calling, which makes it more difficult because it becomes, kind of is chess within the game of coordinators. Mm-hmm. Because somebody can know I'm running an out route, but I can also be, pretty good, like on a, say a 12-yard out. I can also be pretty good to make him believe for just a second that I'm not, right. And be patient in the route that I can do that. And you have to be patient at that level. In college, not so much. Mm-hmm. You can get away with, kind of a sloppy route, like whatever, or whatnot. You're not quite as smart or instinctive.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, that was a game changer.
To follow up on that, when you were able to understand defenses more, how much better did that make you a receiver, whether it be in high school, college, or on a pro level? Because you said you talked to Ed Reed, and I'm sure he kind of told you the nuances of what he's looking for or what he was trying to do. How much better did that make you? Because I know y'all do sight adjustments and whatnot in your routes. How much better did that make you as a receiver?
Man, it's a world of difference. When you can see and read and understand a defensive scheme and what they're trying to do, and everybody's role and responsibility in that scheme and that coverage and in that whatever, you begin to. I mean, the game definitely slows down, but your level and your level of anticipation and being on the same page with your quarterback is on a whole nother level. And in the NFL, that's the name of the game. Because if you're not on the same page and y'all don't have a great feel for each other and what he's thinking, I got to be thinking what he's thinking, and know what he's going to do before we even get there. Is not going to be good for you guys, not consistently at least. And so yeah, knowing it makes it so much easier and funner. You're having fun. Like you get to, you playing free. You know, you talking your shit and you playing like it's just you having a good time out there.
Gotcha. The term "play like a Raven," I think it's posted all over Baltimore. And it means different things to different people. What does that mean to you? What did that mean to you when you were a Raven?
First and foremost is tough,
Mm-hmm.
tough, grit, and all 60 minutes, like period. So tough for me was, you know, it was part of his blocking.
Mm-hmm.
The other part was making tough catches.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't run. We didn't have a crazy pass happy offense. We didn't have people running, you know, wide all over the field. No, you knew what we were gonna run, and for the most part, they were probably gonna be there. So you just gonna have to make tough catches. Period.
So toughness is the main thing. Tough, relentless, just hard-nosed football.
Hard-nosed football, straight up. Man, it's gonna be a game to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And got two more questions for you.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Ravens franchise today? The current Ravens, the current state of the Ravens today.
Love it. I love it. Because I'll tell people a franchise is only as good as its ownership for the most part. And I look at the top franchise that's just consistent and just stout and have great foundations. And you know, it's your Patriots, your Steelers, us. Like we're in there, like consistent.
You got me?
Okay. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. But just year in and year out consistently winning and having a shot to go to the playoffs, and then not only that, give yourself a chance to win the Super Bowl.
Gotcha. Now, Baltimore is a franchise that rarely picks in the lower, the upper echelon of the draft, like 10 through 1, rarely.
Right.
So by them constantly being 20 plus every year, that shows a level of consistency that, you know, we as fans appreciate, but then we still want the big guys. So fans got to realize it's a trade-off. If we're going to be good every year, we're going to have to work free agency and kind of work some of those back-end guys. And the key word is going to be develop the guys you got.
Exactly.
Develop the guys you got, because you're not going to jump up to a pick 2 and get whoever the stud is that year.
That's right. I think we've done a tremendous job at developing guys, because year in, year out, our defenses are the same. I can guarantee you, coming into this year after losing to Judon and you know, all the guys that we lost, we're like, oh, what are we doing? Where the pass rush going? What is the defense going to look like this year? Like, what are we doing? Balling, decimated by injury, and still in great. I mean, bro, it's developing players, because we're always in great position.
Yeah. And I'll be one to, and I've been saying this on my show all year, I hated the Oway pick when it happened.
Yeah,
absolutely hated it. But that cat made me eat my words, man. I see a bright future for that cat, man. And if he can put it all together, what's crazy is, and I'm getting off subject for a minute. How in the world is him and number 11 for the Cowboys on the same college team, and they not beating the crap out of people? Parsons,
week in, week out, like how? Yeah, did they not have 35 sacks?
I don't know. It's crazy. Then they both run 4 threes.
That's incredible. That's like, what was they doing on D? Like, what were they told to do? Like, it wasn't go get the quarterback. I can tell you that now.
Lastly, what was your fondest memory in a Ravens uniform, more necessarily a part of the organization?
Walking into One Ravens Way after getting drafted, driving up to the castle was, you know, incredible. And then first game as a Raven, Monday night game versus the Colts. Ray does his dance and all that, and we're playing a team that I look up to quite a bit. Love Clayton, Marvin, Reggie, Stokely, like absolutely love them. And so that was for that to be my first game as a rookie was just unforgettable.
How did you do that game?
6 catches. I don't know how many yards. Probably like 60, something like that. I think it was like 60, 70,
Gotcha.
something like that.
And you mentioned off camera that you have a podcast you work with too, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I have a podcast called
you probably got more people than me, but there's probably some people on mine that hadn't heard yours. So shout that thing out, and they'll let them know where to follow you at.
Yeah, Noonish on YouTube. Just YouTube Noonish, and it'll come right up. We talk sports and tech. This past week we was talking about my co-host asked if the Ravens was a better team with Huntley. That's a great question.
We can end it. We can end the show with that right there.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think?
Huh?
What do you think?
You gotta go watch the clip.
Oh, you're right. That's a great save. That's a great save. And I'll leave mine for the recap. I'll leave my answer for the recap. So, Walk, I appreciate you coming in, man. Spending a little time with me. Big shout out to you. Again, Noonish is the podcast on YouTube. And so what I'll do is I'll find it and I'll link it in the comment section of this. Sure. And then we'll go from there, man. I appreciate you for coming on. Appreciate you for coming on. Ravens Flock. One of the first receivers drafted in the first round to come to the Ravens, because we take everything but receivers except lately. Mark Clayton, a legend in Oklahoma. One of the probably, if I look up the stats, he probably up there in receiving yards too for the Ravens, because we didn't keep receivers long.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it one bit.
So we'll check that out too. And again, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming through. One of OU's finest, the greatest number in sports, number 9. And this Coach Evans with Sip Tally Films, and we out. Don't forget Noonish on YouTube. I'm gonna link it in the comment section. Go follow it. Support. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you,
bro. Have a good night. Enjoy the games.
Now you too.
Yes, sir.
And bro.